You know, we often think of science as this pure process of discovery. But what we actually read in journals, what eventually becomes accepted as fact, well, it has to get past some pretty powerful gatekeepers first. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the world of scientific publishing and really try to understand the immense pressure and the critical choices faced by the people who hold the keys, the journal editors.
It's a huge question, right? I mean, the answer shapes everything from public policy to the next medical breakthrough. And while we always hear about peer review, the ultimate decision to publish or to reject a paper, to basically anoint it as new knowledge, that rests with just one person, an editor. And this job is so much more than just correcting grammar. Editors have what's called publication fate control, but it goes even deeper than that. They also have career fate control. Think about it. A single decision can affect a scientist's chance at tenure, their promotions, their funding. That's an absolutely incredible amount of power for one person to have.
So, here's our game plan for today. We'll start with these unsung gatekeepers and the big problem they face, the editor's dilemma. Then, we'll look at a really interesting solution called the triple bottom line, its 3 pillars, and the virtuous cycle it can create. And finally, we'll see why all of this puts our collective knowledge on the line.
Right, so all this power, it doesn't just exist in a vacuum. It actually creates this profound internal struggle, a constant battle between what's good for your own career and what's good for science itself.
Let's just start with the workload, because it's staggering. On average, editors spend 15 hours a week on their journal duties. But remember, that's just the average. For editors at the really top-tier journals, that number can balloon to over 26 hours a week. It's basically a second unpaid job on top of all their own research and teaching responsibilities.
And this quote, wow, it just perfectly illustrates the human cost. It paints such a vivid picture, doesn't it? This is not a 9-to-5 job you can just leave at the office. It follows you on vacation, it pulls you away from your family, and it leads to some pretty intense burnout.
So this workload, it creates what feels like an impossible choice. Every single hour you spend doing good for science, providing thoughtful feedback, hunting down reviewers, is an hour you are not spending doing well for yourself. That's time away from your own research, which is the very thing that gets you promotions and prestigious job offers. It really feels like a zero-sum game between serving science and actually building a successful career.
But what if that's the wrong way to look at it? What if it's not a trade-off at all? What if there's a way to reframe this whole problem? Well, the solution comes from a really surprising place, not from the halls of academia, but from the world of corporate business strategy. The key idea here is something called editorial responsibility. It's all about reframing the dilemma. So instead of choosing between my work and journal work, an editor's performance is seen through 3 lenses at once: economic, social, and environmental. The point is, they aren't competing priorities. They're all part of an integrated whole. And this whole concept comes directly from corporate social responsibility, or CSR. You know how we don't just judge companies on their profits anymore, right? We also look at their social and environmental impact. This framework just applies that exact same logic to a journal editor. Their success isn't just about their personal publication record, it's about a much broader set of contributions.
Okay, so let's see how this actually breaks down. This whole new way of thinking rests on 3 distinct but totally interconnected pillars of performance.
The first pillar is economic performance. And yeah, this is the traditional doing well part. It's all the personal, tangible rewards that come with a successful academic career. The promotions, the better job offers, consulting gigs, all of it. This model says, hey, these things are real and they're a legitimate part of the whole equation.
Then you've got Pillar 2, social performance. This is about doing good for the immediate community. We're talking about the authors, the reviewers, and the journal itself. It means being timely, giving helpful feedback, and just treating everyone with respect. Basically, it's about being a great steward for your academic community. And the third pillar is the broadest, and you could argue it's the most important: environmental performance. This is all about the editor's impact on society at large, the people who use the research, the universities, the whole profession. Does the knowledge published in this journal actually make a difference out there in the real world? Does it improve things? Does it make the entire field look good? Okay, so we've got these 3 pillars: economic, social, and environmental. They seem kind of separate, don't they? Well, this is where the model gets truly powerful. It argues they're not in conflict at all. In fact, they create a reinforcing, virtuous cycle, where doing good directly leads to doing well.
Look at how this feedback loop completely flips the script on the dilemma. It all starts with great social performance. When you respect authors and reviewers, you build a strong reputation for your journal. That reputation attracts better papers, which leads to a bigger environmental impact, more groundbreaking work getting out there. That success, in turn, brings rewards, both for the journal and personal economic rewards for the editor. The dilemma is solved. And finally, the editor can reinvest those rewards to improve their social performance even more, making the cycle spin even faster. See? Doing good directly leads to doing well.
So as we start to wrap this up, it becomes really clear that this isn't just some clever management trick. This is a system where the very integrity of what we consider to be knowledge is at stake.
Here's the most crucial point. We have to have a system that aligns good ethics with good outcomes. When editors are actually rewarded for being good stewards of science, the entire system benefits. The quality of research goes up, the community gets healthier, and public trust in science is strengthened.
But this whole thing leaves us with one final, kind of sobering thought. The source material asks us to think about the flip side. If this is a virtuous cycle, what does a vicious one look like? What happens when poor treatment of authors leads to a bad reputation, which leads to weaker papers, which erodes public trust, and starves the system of resources? It's a really powerful question to ponder, and it reminds us just how much is riding on the shoulders of these gatekeepers.